My name is Michael Winterbottom, and I'm the director of the film.
My name is Uri Albi, and I play Avram Stern.
My name is Irina Starsenbaum, and I'm playing Shoshana Borahov.
My name is Douglas Booth, and I play Thomas Wilkin.
It's based on a true story. It tells the story of Tom Wilkin and Shoshana Borchov, who were living in Tel Aviv in the 1930s and 1940s. So it's a time when the British were ruling Palestine. And Tom Douglas is a policeman in the British Palestine Police Force who's chasing Jewish terrorists, as the British saw them. And Irina's playing Shoshana, and they're in love. And it's about really the effect of growing political extremism and then political violence on their relationship. Yeah, we've been trying to make this film for like 15 years. Or we started thinking about the film about 15 years ago. I went to Jerusalem Film Festival because they was like showing a sort of selection of my films. And whilst I was there, I read a book by Tom Segev called One Palestine Complete, which tells a really great story about the British kind of role in Palestine between the two world wars. And it just seemed like a really fascinating place and time, something that I hadn't really heard that much about. And so it just felt like, it was just like we started then sort of researching kind of different stories and came across the story of Tom and Shoshana and just felt like, it's a way of looking at the effect of violence, but through a very simple story of a relationship.
Because it's one of the most interesting and complicated characters and scripts I have ever got in my life. And she's the real feminist, and she's very strong, modern, and actually you can meet her somewhere today. And for me it's a big honor to meet my colleagues and share with them my character, because we were always saying with Douglas that, Douglas, you are like 50% of my character. That's true, because the love story, which is just goes all over the script, this is like the main thing. You can, be. You can feel how painful it is. What actually do with people who just want to live their life together, but they can't because they're definitely surrounded by all these circumstances. And yeah, for me that's really interesting to integrate this love story and political views, which is she's into. And for me, it was really difficult and interesting to explore this.
I've been a big fan of Michael's for a long time. Obviously, I think one of the most fearless British directors and very prolific. And the script was very tight. It was a part of history that I knew nothing about, and I love history, and I love this period. And then I really enjoyed. I never knew that Tel Aviv was this sort of liberal place at this time, and it was just a window into a time you didn't know much about. So, and then just came to play with these incredible actors. Michael had done a lot of research. Tom Wilkin actually was probably the person that we knew the least about. And I've played a bunch of real characters in the past, and actually this was the sort of probably the character that I knew the least about, which kind of, it's a shame to some sense, but also gives you sort of freedom to sort of make it your own.
So I'm playing Avram Stern, who is the leader of an organization called Etzel Lehi. He then created this new organization called Lehi, and he called himself a freedom fighter for Israel. So his main aim was to get the British to leave Palestine, Israel, and to at some point create the nation of Israel. So that was the main point of his life, and he was very much willing to die for that cause. And I think differently to Shoshana and differently to Wilkin, Avram Stern is a very well documented person, and I think it's fair to say that he's one of the most important Jewish characters of the 20th century. So I was lucky in the sense that I had way more material to work with to begin with. And I had, access to. He was a poet. I think it's we're talking about a moment in history where terrorists were also poets. He would not be the person to put bombs. He would be the person to create the environment to be a proactive, violent at times in order to achieve their goals in creating the States of Israel. But then I had many poems and many letters that he wrote that I could then somehow find my way into creating this character. And I think I don't know if Michael would agree, but I knew about Avram Stern before we started, but I didn't remember how he looked like, and I thought there was some sort of a resemblance between me and him. And then once I got the audition, and obviously as Douglas said, I saw it's Michael Winterbottom, and to me it's such a privilege and to be able to be in this film. Yeah.
Avraham Stern was very concerned about the way he dressed, wasn't he? Like to
Yes,
dress very,
exactly.
very sort of sharp way. You know,
Yeah.
so that's why we picked
That's
Ori.
it,
This
yeah.
is, I think, this is. Did Avraham Stern actually wear this outfit? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he had it in one of the scenes. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Between planting bombs and writing poems.
It was really interesting because I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but we had some video which some people from her family recorded, and it was a video like an interview around 40 minutes or in an hour, and she said a lot about their relationship, not with Wilkin, but about this Zionist organization. She was following these ideas, and she was telling about Tel Aviv and Palestine and all of these history moments, but she never talked about Thomas Wilkin. So, but for me, of course, it was one of the most interesting and one of the most meaningful things that I wanted to know. But some of her, from her family, I don't really remember who was it, they said that for her, she said it before her death, I guess, that he was the love of her life, and the most the biggest mistake she's ever made, that she didn't accept the ring. Yeah, am I right?
I don't remember that. I'm not sure. I mean, I think I think with where we knew the historical kind of truth or the historical facts, we stuck to those facts. But obviously, this is a fiction based on those facts. So that as Dr. Samir is saying, the way that their relationship, which is central strand, is something that we've imagined. And it's like and it's and it's sort of we hope it's true to the spirit of what actually happened, but in a way that is the sort of most fictional side of it.
Yeah, that's true. But it's really sad to know, to understand how meaningful he was for her, and how painful it was to lose him. Yeah.
Well, I think it shows that, extremism leads to violence, and violence leads to war, and ultimately that's a lose-lose-lose situation, really.
I think, the violence breeds more violence, and that's it. And it just makes so many difficult, big, huge mistakes to people. And so this is the most important message in the movie, I guess.
I think I totally agree with what was said, but I would like to add that I think it's about narratives and perspectives as well. This is a time in history that is very much in dispute even to this very day, and there were court cases coming after the events that are depicted in the film. And I think a very important thing in our work was that this film was showed to many of the families that in the film, the families today that in the film are in disagreement with each other, and all of them said that the depiction was fair. And I think this is a big, that shows how skillful Michael is to be able to show very different perspectives and still say, and to leave the ambiguity as to like what exactly happened, and then to stick to the facts when we have them, and then have the artistry to leave things open also to the audience. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think over the last 10 years or so, there seems to be a rise in kind of political extremism in lots of cultures. So like, obviously in Britain we haven't had political violence, but we've had like Brexit and how we're like you're either one side or the other, and if you don't agree with me, you're kind of my enemy. Same with sort of Trump in America, I think the same sort of thing. So this is a film about the kind of in a way the aim of that sort of extremism is to force you to be in one camp or another. And as it becomes more violent, you sort of have to sort of take sides. So the journey of Shoshana, in the end, Shoshana is working with people she disagreed with politically, and she's like fighting people she wanted to live with peacefully. And that's the sort of impact of violence. I think so. I kind of hope the film is about, that you can disagree with someone, but you should have a sort of, you should be able to still communicate and argue and have a kind of political discourse rather than feeling that you're just my enemy if you don't agree with me.